Highlanders, Blues, 35 points to 29. Sometimes it's pretty hard to be a Blues fan, tough game, but you have to say, man, with 5 tries, the Highlanders really responded. I mean, the coach, Tony Brown, was kind of writing off the season after a pretty disappointing loss last week, and maybe that was a bit of reverse psychology to motivate the boys because they certainly put in a good shift. 35-29. And man, at times the Blues are their own worst enemies. Like, as much credit as you give to the Highlanders, there's some pretty obvious mistakes from the Blues. But anyway, I'll go through some of the key points of the game, the stats. Where does this leave the standings? What do we need to do? And you guys can let me know your thoughts as well. It actually started pretty well with the Blues. Charged down early. Jimeno had to win the turnover on his own line. Highlanders under all kinds of pressure. But then the first bad sign was Robinson went off injured within like 2-3 minutes. And Akira Ioane had to come on. Remember, Robinson's the captain as well, so quite a blow. Papali'i went close on 4 minutes. Harmon put a good tackle on him to take him into touch. And then just when it looks like the Highlanders are going to make a good exit, Ruru's got a good intercept from the Highlanders, resulting exit play on their own kind of 5 metre line. And suddenly it's 7-0. Blues are looking okay. Ominously, they concede a penalty on 11, so the Highlanders kick it, make it 3 points to 7. And then on 15 minutes, Jimeno gets his first try for the Highlanders. They had advantage. Aaron Smith tapped it, they went close. And then Jimeno went over not long later, so 10 points to 7. And from then on, it was virtually all Highlanders for quite some time, man. They were knocking on the door for ages. They had advantage again. They tapped it again. They ended up knocking it on, so it's like, whoa, the Blues finally get out of jail. But TMO, eagle-eyed, spots Hoskins Satutu's foot is the one that kind of interferes with the ball at the base of the ruck to cause the Highlanders player to knock it on. So he gets a yellow card for cynical play. The Highlanders scrum it, and Josh Ioane goes over. They miss a fairly easy conversion, but it's suddenly 15-7. And that's the first kind of mind explosion that it's like, what are the Blues doing? Why would you do that? I know it's tempting and it's easy to do, but it costs your side 5 points. Interestingly, though, the Blues get the next try despite having the man down through Rico Ioane. It's a good build-up play. Black does well to kind of take a little run and draw a defender. Akira has a big defender beaten in the build-up, so he was looking strong. The Blues do kick the conversion, so it's 14 points to 15. The Blues are a point behind, and they're actually winning the yellow card 7 points to 5. Black kicks a penalty a few minutes later to make it 17-15. Suddenly, the Blues are in front. Things are looking kind of hunky-dory because they'd been under the pump, man. Penalties conceded galore from the Blues. The discipline was not great. Speaking of discipline, not great. Just it looks like they're going to go into the half in front. They concede a penalty from the restart. The Highlanders go for a line-out. And it's a great line-out move. It ends up with Punivai getting a try. Aaron Smith with the pass that sets it up. It's 22-17 at half-time. So pretty gutting. As I said, like Highlanders, phenomenal move to take advantage of the opportunity, but the Blues given the opportunity. So it's like credit to them, criticism for them for that one. Half-time stats, possession of territory are pretty even. The Blues conceded double the penalties with 8-4. Both sides' defence are actually pretty high despite all the tries conceded. There's 3 knock-ons to the Blues, 1 to the Highlanders at half-time. Knock-ons would kind of be the story of the early second half. The Blues went close. Caleb Clark with a big line break. There was a long pass to Papali'i. It's to his ankles, so he knocks it on. So it's a missed opportunity. Caleb Clark has another line break later. Guess what? Blues knock it on. So again, kind of own worst enemies. There's a bit of handbags on 53. There's still been no score. The start of the second half is a wee bit messy. But then a pass which is not a bad one is Aaron Smith's bullet pass to Mitch Hunt. And then Mitch Hunt's floaty pass to Nada Ke'au on the left wing. Great Highlanders try on 58 minutes, man. Aaron Smith's bullet pass is one of the best in the world. And suddenly it's 27-17. The Blues do get held up on 63 minutes. TMO can't see any grounding, so it's no try. And then the Blues on 65 minutes concede an obstruction penalty in their own 22, I think it was. And then, I guess knowing that this is maybe going to decide the game, they call for a captain's referral for something. And it seems like a panicky call because it looked like the Blues were the offenders. If anything, you'd think it was the Highlanders who'd called the Blues out for some obstruction, but the ref had already penalised them for it. So it was a waste of a referral. Highlanders kick a penalty. It's 30 points to 17. It's looking pretty much like game over with less than 15 minutes to go. However, Blues do make a comeback. Laulala gets a try after a heap of phases. The Highlanders use a referral in a pretty good way on Josh Goodhue for kind of swinging his arm into Aaron Smith as the assist tackler, but it was a pretty innocuous one. Maybe I got my Blues goggles on there, but I was kind of thinking, man, if that's called off for that one, then there's something wrong. But it wasn't. The ref was like, no, that's nothing doing. Try is given, 30 points to 24. It was a good referral, like I mentioned. It's a good, he was fair to get them to have a look at it, but they decided nah. So 30 points to 24. It's game on. Blues are right back into it, and then another mind explosion. Hodgman gets a red card on 73 minutes. I wish it was yellow, but I guess it doesn't make a difference. For a high shot on Lentchester, and he's an assist tackler as well. He's so high, and he puts his shoulder into his head. He was always too high. There was no need for it. There was other guys making the tackle. I don't know what the thinking was there. He gets red carded. That immediately leads to Michael Collins' try, the former Blues man, about a minute later. The Blues were under pressure. The Highlanders were cool, calm and collected, and it's 35-24 because they missed the conversion, which was, again, another relatively straightforward one. The Blues do manage to bring it back within touching distance right before, 20 seconds before full time through Satutu. Puts them back in bonus point range, but they want the win. So they take a quick droppy for the conversion to make sure there's still a kickoff. But the Blues do get the ball from the kickoff. Highlanders not long later. I think it's Honeck turns them over. So it's a Highlanders win. The Blues were maybe lucky not to concede a penalty in their own half, which would have taken them beyond the bonus point. But they get the losing bonus point, which maybe in the scheme of things will be important. But yeah, the Blues would have really liked to win that one. But credit to the Highlanders, man. Bloody good effort. Run meters finished 327 to 454 with the Blues having the advantage there, but the Blues have twice as many knock-ons, 8 to 4. The handling was relatively poor, man. But speaking of poor, the Highlanders will be annoyed with their goal kicking, which was 57% and a couple of easy ones missed. Could have taken the game beyond doubt, but remember, they've scored an extra try, and it's still relatively close. Blues kicked at 80%. Penalties conceded. That's position. Position is 53-47 to the Blues. Territory is pretty similar. Clean breaks 9-7 with the Blues having a couple more. Defenders beaten is 28-10, but Caleb Clark's got a lot of those, to be honest. He finishes with 117 run meters. He actually had a pretty blockbusting game, even if he didn't get over the try line. The penalties conceded, like I mentioned, was 12-10, so actually ended up relatively close. The Highlanders had to make a lot more tackles, 143 to 106. But they were solid, man. Harmon made 17 out of 18. Aaron Smith made 78 passes, and he was really everywhere. Mitch Hunt finishes with a bunch of try assists as well. So, good win for the Highlanders. A win at home at last. So the Blues have got the Crusaders away next week, which becomes an important one. The Highlanders are on the bye. Remember, the Highlanders are still in with a mathematical chance, but they're going to need the Blues and the Chiefs to lose some games. So they'll need the Crusaders to do... Both sides need the Crusaders to beat the Chiefs tonight. And then the Highlanders would like the Crusaders to beat the Blues next week. So, yeah, it's a weird one for Blues fans because you're going to be cheering on the Crusaders to beat the Chiefs so the Chiefs don't pass the Blues on the log. The Blues are still in second, but the Chiefs have got the game in hand. The Highlanders are in third, but likewise, they're a point behind the Blues, but remember, the Chiefs have got a game in hand. So, yes. Frustrating one as a Blues fan. Too many kind of dumb decisions and poor handling for mine, but you cannot deny the Highlanders and Tony Brown. Some of their moves, man. Scrum and line out, they can absolutely kill you from set piece with their set plays, and just their defense was good enough. Put the Blues under pressure, made the errors, forced the penalties. Too good for the Blues, man. That's all you can say. You guys let me know your thoughts on the game. What did you think about this one? Do you think the Blues are underperforming given the squad that they've got? There seemed to be a bit of a false dawn and that they were looking good at the start of the season. Do you still think the Highlanders are in with a shout? They got a bye next week, so they'll need things to fall in their favour. But anyway, they'll be looking back at that game they lost in Golden Point with a bit of regret, but they've bounced back with a pretty good win. So yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts. If you enjoy the channel, do feel free to like the videos. That helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Likewise, subscribe to the channel. If you want more content or you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon page. Links in the description for that one. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys again soon. See you later.